All right, guys, how you doing? So in this episode today, we're going to take a look at the servo motor. A servo motor is one that allows us to control, in this case, the motor, obviously, from 0 to 180 degrees. So it's a little bit different than a DC motor, which goes 360 degrees. And in our case, we're going to be learning how to do just some simple programming for the fact that our pumpkin is going to be able to open and close its jaws. So let's dive into this, do some just basic simple servo coding just to get it moving and grooving, and then we can add into some more advanced features here eventually. So what we have here, if you're looking at the Arduino, we're not going to use the breadboard for this because when we use our pumpkin, the breadboard is not going to be needed. We're actually just going to thread this into the pumpkin, into the inside. And so what we've done is we've just got some simple wiring, which I have a wiring scheme on the computer, which you can see right here, which hopefully will make your life a little bit easier. And in here, we've got the servo, and you're going to see, in our case, we've got three colors. We've got brown, we've got red, and we've got orange. You're going to usually see this, or you're going to see black, red, and white, or black, red, and yellow. The black, obviously, is the ground wire, and in this case, the black is also the brown. And so we have that wired up, as you can see also on the schematic diagram. The red is the power, so we've got that plugged into our 5 volts here, which obviously connects to red. And then last, we have orange, which is basically like yellow. That's our connector for our signal. And so if you've got yellow, white, or orange, that's your signal. And for this demo, we are plugged into number 9, which you can also see on the program. And so this is all that you need for a servo. The Arduino Uno, this one here, can actually power up to 12 servos, which is really exciting, especially if you start building out robots and things like that nature. A lot of fascinating stuff. And so if we pop back over to our program here, what I want you to see, let's get these guys out of the way here. There we go. I've already wrote just a simple code. This is nothing fancy, but what this is going to do is have the servo move from 90 degrees to 180 back and forth. Just doop, 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 doop. So depending on your kind of servo motor, there are some different options. You're going to have to play around with some of these numbers, which we'll talk about, because there are two different things here. So we're just going to go through this one time. I'm just going to type these in and talk just so you can kind of learn about what it is that we're doing. This first piece here is Arduino has what's called libraries, which just give the Arduino more functions than what its basic features are. And so there's already a library installed in Arduino called Servo. And this allows the communication to work and come together because the servo is based on like pulse or signals. And so this allows the communication to happen. Then down here, we're going to go here to servo, and we're going to give our servo a name. In this case, I'm just going to use the standard my servo. This allows us to call it out. It allows us to have some communication with our servo motor to make all that happen. And this is actually, if you want to get real technical, this is a class. And so this is just a package of data that allows some things to happen. So we don't need to get super involved in that. Just kind of think of it as we're giving our servo a name to get the features that we want. And then once we get down here into our void setup, which you know we always have to have a void setup, that we've talked about that now in previous programs, we're going to go ahead and call up our my servo, and we're going to add this attach. And all this means is kind of like when we did the LED pin, when we had to identify it as an input or output. We're just communicating now with our Arduino and with our servo. And what this attach is basically saying is it's going, we actually have a servo motor attached, so the Arduino can look for it, and we have it in pin number 9. And so it's just letting it know what pin the servo is actually going to be in. And then when we get down here now into our void loop, we know the void setup is this, it runs at one time. Now here we are, we can actually write our code of what we want to have happen. Now, I just want this to go 90 degrees. And so this is where you're going to have to kind of play around with your numbers depending on how your motor is set up. Some of them allow you to go from 0 to 90 or 0 to 180. It just avoids negative. But I'm going to start at 90. my delay is how long do I want this to take and the time, so you can play around with your timing. For this video, we'll just keep it at 1 second. And then what position do I want it to go to after that? So I'm gonna have it go to 180. And then I want it to wait there obviously a second as well. And then we should be done. So this is gonna move the servo to position 90 on the grid of 0 to 180 degrees for a second, and then it's gonna go to 180. So now you can see, there it is, it's moving from 90 to 180, back and forth. And I could go through and adjust this. I could change these degrees. I can make this, as opposed to 90, I can make this 45. And you're gonna see that it's gonna go a further range. So there's the 45 to 180, back and forth. I could adjust the time, the delay, and how far and quickly it goes. And so this is the basics of getting your servo up and running. So go around, play with that, get used to it, and move on to the next video when you are ready. And just so you can see it here, I just pasted in the code that we just ran in the Arduino, and then when I go ahead and run that code, you're going to see it working here as well, and you can see that it's moving the 90 degrees back and forth. And so that just helps you kind of see again, and you can kind of go and manipulate this a little bit. You know, I could make this, you know, the 90 like we were talking about. So even if you don't have an Arduino at home, you can still do this work. So now it's going to do its 90. There we go. And you can have some fun with that as well. Alright guys, take care.